Guys, welcome back after our short advert break. Let us now look at another question. So, when I look at what is presented here, I can see there's a map, all right? And then also on the right-hand side, there's our question. It says, Wikus is planning to travel from Hermanus to Johannesburg to watch a rugby match between South Africa and New Zealand. The roadmap of South Africa that shows the national road networks is given alongside. So here we can see is our roadmap, okay? And we can also see all the national roads indicated. For example, here's the N7, here's the N14, and so on. What else is important is that we need to find the two places. That will now be Johannesburg as well as Hermanus. Okay, now here we can see Johannesburg is nicely indicated to us. They're in Gauteng province. And then Hermanus will be here, right in Western Cape. Here far south almost. Okay, so there's Hermanus. So we are saying that Wikus, he's going to travel from Hermanus all the way to Johannesburg. Okay, so that is what needs to happen. That's our scenario here. So let's look at our first question. All right, before we do that, it says, refer to this map and answer the questions that follow. Okay, so question A. It says, identify the national roads that Wikus must use if he travels from Hermanus and stops in Graafrenet to rest for a while. All right, so we must identify the national roads. Now, we already know that Hermanus is situated here. Now we need to find the new place, which is Graafrenet. Now there we see Graafrenet. Okay, so now if you look, here's Hermanus, so we can see the first national road he'll be on is the N2. Right, so I listed the N2. So he's going to travel on the N2. Right, he'll pass all these places. Remember, he's heading here. Then we can see the next road here will be the N9. So it's important you have to identify the national roads that Wikus is going to travel between the two places indicated here. Guys, I hope that is all clear to you. Okay, so let us quickly look at our next question. Sorry, I wrote here. So let me just say this plus the N9. Question B says the following. If Wikus leaves Hermanus and travels on the N2 in an easterly direction, write down the first town he passes on his way as indicated on the map. Okay, so remember, Hermanus is here. He leaves Hermanus and travels on the N2. We know there's the N2. Right, we now need to write down the first town he passes. So when I look at this, okay, just to make that clear for you guys. Okay, let's erase that part. So he will be traveling on the N2 here. So we can see that the first town here will be Mossel Bay. Okay, so I'm going to indicate that will be Mossel Bay. Are we clear on that one? All right, let us now look at our next question. Question number C says, use a scale of 1:10 million. Right, there's our scale. To determine the actual distance in kilometers between Hermanus and Johannesburg as the crow flies. Remember, what does it mean when we say as the crow flies? From the one point straight to the other point, like in this case. Okay, it's not via the given route, for example. And we say, if the distance on the map between these two cities measures 13 centimeters. All right, so we are saying from here to there measures 13 centimeters. We must use the scale of 1:10 million to determine the actual distance, right, in kilometers. Now let's start. So first of all, I'll start by indicating that I want to see this 13 centimeters. I'll multiply with my scale, right, which is 10 million. Okay, so when I do this 13 multiplied by 10 million, and make sure that you type in exactly or the correct amounts or values there. So that will give me 130 million centimeters. Guys, are we clear? So first of all, I took the map distance, the 13 centimeters. I multiplied that by the scale of 10 million. So 13 multiplied by 10 million, that gives me an answer of 130 million centimeters, right? So now I must convert from centimeters to kilometers, okay? So what I want you to remember is that 100,000 centimeters, the word centi refers to 100, right? Equals to 1 kilometers. So therefore, I'll take 130 million centimeter and I'll divide this by 100,000 centimeters. Guys, are we clear on that? Now I can simplify here. Both my units are the same. Okay, so before I run to my calculator, so let me do this. Cancel 3 there. Cancel 2 here. So that will give me a distance of 1,300 kilometers. Guys, you can check that on your calculator, but that's just the other method of doing this as well. So 130 million centimeters divided by 100,000 centimeters equals 1,300 kilometers. Why did I divide by 1,000 centimeters here? Remember, 100,000 centimeters equals 1 kilometer. Guys, I hope that is clear. Our next question. Number D says, the minibus that Wickes will be traveling in consumes 7.8 liters per 100 kilometers of fuel. Calculate the amount of money spent on fuel for a one-way trip from Hermanus to Johannesburg. Remember, we just calculated the distance between these two places is 1,300 kilometers. If the cost of fuel is 22 rand and 44 cents per liter. Let me run through this again. The minibus that Wickes will be traveling in, there's the fuel consumption, is 7.8 liters per 100 kilometers of fuel. What is it that we need to calculate? Calculate the amount of money, right, spent on fuel. Important to note, this is only for a one-way trip, right, from Hermanus to Johannesburg, so we know that's the total distance as well. If the cost of fuel is 22 rand and 44 cents per liter. So we have everything we need to answer this question. Okay, so I'll start by indicating my distance. So this is 1,300 kilometers. I'll take the 1,300 kilometers and I multiply it by 7.8 liters and I'll divide that by 100. Okay? And thereafter, I'll take this answer and I'll do it in one and I'll multiply it by my cost per liter of fuel. Guys, are we clear? So I'll take my total distance. I will multiply by my consumption, basically 7.8 liters. So it covers, it needs 7.8 liters to cover 100 kilometers. That is basically what we are saying through this. Okay? And thereafter, I'll multiply it by my cost per liter. So let's type that in. 1,300 multiplied by 7.8 divided by 100. Right, and thereafter multiplied by 22 rand and 44 cents. So when I do this calculation, I'll get an answer of, remember it's in South Africa, so I indicate my unit, which is rand, 2,275 rand. And now please look at this. Remember, money, we round off to 2 decimal places. So therefore, total to be paid for this one-way trip is 2,275 rand. And so now 2 decimal places, meaning I look at the third one, digit after my decimal, that's more than 5. So therefore, this need to change, right? So this becomes 42 cents. 2,275 rand and 42 cents. All right, let us look at another question. Question number E indicates the following. It is recommended that drivers on long-distance trips should take a 15-minute break, right, after every 2 hours of driving. Why do you think is this important? As you can see, this is now becoming a level 4 question. We would like to know what is your opinion on this. So why do you think this statement is important? Okay, or recommendation for that matter, that we must take a 15-minute break after every 2 hours of driving. Okay, so here we can come up with quite a number of reasons, but first thing we can note here is for safety reasons, to take a break, for example, right, but mainly for safety reasons. right? When you stop, you can stretch your legs, right? You can freshen up, for example. We can say to avoid accidents. So with a question like this, level 4, please make sure that you are able to answer them. Are we clear? We want to know, why do you think is this important? And make sure that you relate your answer to the context at hand. Guys, let us take a quick break. After the break, we'll wrap up today's lesson. See you now.